Hey everyone, this is John Gillie, CEO, TruckTractorTrailer.com. Thanks for tuning into this latest Stream podcast. Stream is a TTT production that serves to educate our community with experts providing real-life insights to help you run your business and navigate your professional journey or simply spark a new idea. Today, I'm joined by Bob Bekian. Bob and I started working together in sales on the streets of Los Angeles. We just had a great conversation pre-pod talking about our early career and telling stories. And I just can't wait for everyone here to hear from Bob and his unique insights into the world of selling and really catch up on what he's doing now, which I think is pretty extraordinary. So Bob, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Good to be on your
show. First of all, let's jump right into it. How did you end up in sales? How did you start off your sales career?
Well, I came from a little bit different background than a lot of people. I grew up in Venice, California in the 1970s. I was a professional skateboarder with the Dogtown Z-Boy skateboard guys. And we were kind of street educated and, went to college, barely finished. But when the job started coming in front of me with interviews, at that time they were offering salaries of $22,000 and $23,000, and I took a job for $28,000 in sales because it paid the most, and I thought that if I could become a good sales rep, then I could probably do anything, and that's turned out to be the case. That's been the single driving factor in my professional career. I got into the entertainment business about 20 years ago and been very successful with 3 companies. I took my first company. I was recruited in there from the industry that you and I were both in. I took that company from 5 million to 35 million in 4 years. We built a team all across the country, and then started my own companies. Started a media company, a rental company, renting high definition cameras, and we started doing an ad agency, producing commercials and content. And then we started building studios. And so now, you look at my background, it's pretty varied, but sales has been part of all of it, because as I say in my new book, Sales Made Easy, nothing happens until somebody sells something. So, I feel that sales has been very good to me, and sales is not a bad word. Sales does not suck.
No, it doesn't. And I'm glad you're saying that. This, you were there on my very first day in a sales role.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you and I had a background also in restaurant business.
Yeah.
I had always been in restaurant management, didn't get my degree until later. And that degree enabled us to get that sales gig with J&K Services, right?
Right.
Way back. And we opened up LA for that company, and that was pretty exciting to open up a new market. So we started at the same time. Our paths kind of went in different ways, but I agree with you. Nothing does start until somebody sells something. And whether you're an operator, general manager, CEO, founding companies, you're always selling.
That's right. That's right. And I had the opportunity to get mentored and work with, just as you have, John, some really great people, particularly in the media space. One of my partners in the company that I was talking about earlier was Michael Krasny. Michael Krasny has a very interesting story. He was broke, and he had a computer that he put on remember the penny saver, which was a way to sell things.
Yeah.
And he put his computer in the penny saver, and he got about 10 calls for it. And he's like, wow, there's a lot of demand for used computers. So he saved up a little bit of money, and he went to China, and he started buying IBM clone computers, and he started a little shop in Chicago called Computer Discount Warehouse. And they turned that into a 1 million square foot facility, shipping 75,000 shipments a day. He's on the Forbes short list. And so, he was my partner in Comtel Pro Media, and I'm riding in the car with him one day, just me and him. And I said, Michael, teach me something. And he said, well, you got to, obviously hard work is definitely, you think of anybody, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they all put in the hours. But he said, the thing that I always remember was leverage technology to grow your business. And that's been something that I've always tried to learn as much as I can about whatever category I'm in. And so, things like that, that I learned from people have really helped me launch and evolve. And, there's failures. Listen, as you know, as an entrepreneur, you
Yeah.
will have failures, but, failure and success are not opposites.
Right.
Be successful, you must have failure. So I
Mhm.
look at failure as part of success. So once you're successful, you definitely have a trail of failures behind you, and each one of them has been a learning experience that will teach you how to not do that failure again and propel you to your success. So, my story is filled with, ups and downs. And, in our studio business, we went through a very challenging time with COVID and everything shut down, just like most other businesses.
Mhm.
And the strikes in our industry lately have been devastating to the production community. But we keep pivoting, we keep doing things differently. We look for new markets, we look for ways to leverage the technology that we have to grow our business. So those have been some of the things that, along the way, I've learned since you and I were cold calling on the streets of LA a few years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, so we started off cold calling, collecting business cards, and having a Rolodex, which is, pre-Salesforce days, right? When you're
Oh
talking
yeah.
technology. So it's one of the things that I'm sure that when in your new sales training and coaching business is helping folks salespeople navigate from being high touch to being high tech. And it's really a blend of the two. Like you mentioned, you can't, you have to embrace both. So I think in today's world, I know recruiting for my own businesses over the years, trying to identify those unique superpowers. Um, it's very difficult, and very challenging to find the right talent. So let me just ask you, when you're working with your clients on the sales side, whether it be a mid-sized business, private company, public, what are some of the superpowers or sales traits that you're looking for in a sales pro?
Well, first of all, the number one thing, and it's the same thing in sports. You can't you can't create enthusiasm and speed. It's either there or it's not. So I'm always looking for energy. I'm looking for people that are enthusiastic. I'm looking for
Mhm.
people that believe in what they're selling. If
Mhm.
I'm going to sell a Ford Raptor truck, I want to know everything about that truck and I want to be excited about that truck. So when I talk to other people about it, they can see my enthusiasm in it, and that
Mhm.
I understand the features and the benefits, not just the features, but what the benefits are. Because as you know, and most people that have been doing this for a little while, it's the benefits, what it means to the buyer or your prospect. That's all they care about. They don't care
Mhm.
about what Ford did this or that. They care about what it means to them, how it's going to be a more comfortable ride, or how their Bluetooth and technology is going to integrate into the truck and save them time with different apps and things. So someone that understands that has enthusiasm and that wants to really um, get excited about what they're trying to do. And I've always trying to do that, even when you and I were selling shop towels and uniforms and mats on the ground to industrial companies. I was excited about it. I
Mhm.
tried, and I know you were too. And that's one of the reasons why you and I were top in the country in that category, because we were able to convey an enthusiasm, and we had competitors and we had other people trying to get the same accounts and take our business away. But I think one of the main reasons why we won the accounts was because we sold ourselves and our
Mhm.
company through our presentation of the company, through our enthusiasm. So I look for that. I look for somebody that's got energy, that's excited about what they're doing, and they want to understand everything they can about their product or service so they can be
Mhm.
really good at conveying that to prospects.
It's interesting, Bob. I learned so much during those 2 years of working together.
Yeah.
And a shout out to Terry Hazel and Keith
Yeah.
Cole,
Oh yeah.
because one of the things that we had between the four of us, with Terry and Keith, and Terry's out doing great things. Keith is now president of sales for some food service company.
Right.
Terry's still in LA somewhere. Um, but what we had was a team is only as good as its weakest link.
Right.
And it's really fortunate. Everyone benefits when the weakest link is actually a superstar. So
Yeah.
I remember going into the office on Monday mornings, comparing last week's sales because we had to present, we had to outdo each other, right? Because nobody wanted to be the weak link on the team.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that I'm excited about for you and your clients is having that experience, going out, telling that story about team building, about synergies that occur, because the enthusiasm and the knowledge, whether it's tribal knowledge or technical knowledge, just transfers from one person to the other on the team, and it does give you this competitive advantage, I think.
Absolutely. Yep. And the company that I took from that I was telling you about earlier that we grew significantly in 4 years, we had a team when I took over that was sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. And we turned that every single and my strategy with managing and coaching and building salespeople was, first of all, identify where everybody is and then focus on the bottom first. It's like when I used to coach baseball with my sons.
Yeah.
You never know when that worst kid is going to be at bat at the game winning run, and you
Yeah.
need him to bunt and get on
Yeah.
base and drive in a run and win the
Yeah.
championship. And that
Yeah.
actually happened to me. I pitched 10,000 pitches to this kid that sucked, and he ended up helping us win the championship one year.
Love it.
But I did the same thing with my sales teams. I would work on the lowest portion of the team, but also everybody's individual style, like your superstars. I had
Mhm.
women that were doing $1 million a month, and they just needed support. They
Yeah.
needed help on target accounts. They needed help getting inventory. They knew how to sell. They knew how to get people to want to do business with them. But then you had the other people that needed sales training skills, and other people that were really good order takers, but they were scared to go out and hunt for new business. And that's another thing that I think is a big lesson that I want to tell everybody. And this, John, is that I'm a hunter.
Mhm.
I was a underwater, spear fisherman and big lobster diver, and so I know how to go out and hunt to eat, to kill, to eat food. And I apply that to sales and to business. You have to go out. You have to know that out there is business, but you have to take it. You can't just expect it to come to you. You may be lucky and have some type of a funnel coming into you, but most people don't. Most entrepreneurs start with nothing and they build
Mhm.
it into something. And so that's another thing that we look for and that I like to see is, turning people into hunters and prospectors that not afraid to, uncover rocks and look for places where they can get business. And you and I really learned that in the industry that we started off in the best, because we could call on food service companies, automotive companies, service companies, delivery companies. So we got a vast experience in that industry. And I always refer to that as such a great training ground for us
Yeah.
because we dealt with so many types of businesses, from professional to the most unprofessional people
Yeah.
and everything in between. And at the end of the day, we walked out of that industry and we had a huge amount of experience with a lot of different types of businesses and sales.
Yeah. I'm smiling this whole time, Bob, and we would be remiss not to mention Gary Gonzalez, and what a great
Yeah.
sales coach and trainer that we had, and Gary. And I know he recently retired and from the poly cotton jungle and did very well up in the Bay Area.
Oh, he
And
sold
so
his company?
I think he did. Yeah. I don't know
Okay.
the terms of it, but I'm sure he did very well knowing Bob, knowing Gary, and his whole thing on Tom Hopkins and, the godfathers of sales training. So, hey, this is the first of several conversations, Bob, we're going to have.
Good.
I'm excited to be part of your journey, and I'm glad you're
Thank
part
you.
of mine.
Thanks for having me,
Um,
John.
yeah, no problem. So what is before we conclude here, how can people get a hold of you? How can people reach out and engage you in your services?
Well, I have a website behind me here, bobbekian.com. On the tab at the top of the website, it says sales training, and you
Mm.
can contact me through there. And I'm happy to have conversations in any way we can help. I have a new book that just came out. I'll send you a free copy called Sales Made Easy.
Mhm.
Like I said, nothing happens until somebody sells something. And my logo, Awaken the Tiger, is my sort of theme. I think that, that I've had a lot of success with people that you wouldn't think would kill it in sales, but they did after working with me and developing their own style through the way that they normally are into a tiger in sales and increasing their income tenfold. So I want to help more people do that. It's time for me to give back. And so that's why I started doing this. I don't need to do it. I have very successful media companies, and I've made my fortune, so to speak. But I think I have something to offer and help people with, especially people that are not very experienced in sales. I can give them some really easy tips. And so check out my website, reach out to me. I'd be happy to do a consultation with you at no obligation.
Bob, thank you so much. And we will definitely promote you and bobbekian.com. But all right, guys, until next time, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Thanks.